Welcome back to the Will This podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and I thank you for joining me. I didn't know my shirt. I didn't know my shirt was gonna look so distasteful. So let me correct my correct how I feel. I think feeling the way people feel and how they want to present themselves is extremely important. Let me be clear and understand so that I can the way when I understand, I hope you can understand. That's why we walk this road together. But I promise you, I'm here tonight and today simply because I had to really get some off my chest with you so that you can understand. Look at the title of this show: Life. Be lifing and lifting, but it's a show. Let me explain how. We always have to find a way to be authentic. How you do that, Danny? Be authentic. Well, authenticity has nothing to do with mimicking or being, let's just say, a version of yourself that you think people like and will gravitate to. But what if that's not the complete equation for you in your life? What if your life is to have a digital currency? What if your life involves certain miraculous, wonderful things that you have to partake in simply because you have to do the work to do so? But what if that's the essence of being? What if you can create your own version of artificial intelligence that's catered to you because it said so? You have to be intelligent enough to understand the life that you're being pushed into, orchestrated into, and also, I would say, indoctrinated into. So, how do you deal with all of these elements? Indoctrination, coercion, lies, deceit, filth, foolishness. How do you deal with these? The onslaught of man versus machine, man versus man, weaker man versus stronger man, or power man, or weaker being versus how can I be the power, and how do those powers develop? Meaning, I will render myself to do faulty things in order to beat you. Is that a real power, or is that an arrogance? Is that a real power, or is that something that you see that if I have empathy or sympathy, that's a weakness? How? You came up with that equation outside of the sum of the human genome, meaning, as what has always been perpetuated, pale skin. I'm not jumping on or beating down on pale skinned people. I want pale skinned people to understand you are the most vulnerable. You're the most vulnerable to subjective, vile ways of fallacies, a plethora of them. I hope that when I explain to you what I'm telling you, you don't look at me as a vile person, that you know that you're subjected to something because within the human genome, you know, let's be honest. And let's not Let's not lie to each other for a change. Pale complected beings are subjected to evil simply because their predecessors, their mothers, their fathers, that were black just like ours, but when they found out, what if I'm pale complected, and what if I see the power of being pale, different, with different characteristics and attributes, meaning I see a lot of you icons. The one thing you don't do to each other, you don't lie. You don't deceive each other. You don't treat each other less than. But what if I do? What if I don't see you as the icon that you think you are? What if I don't like you because what if my complexion, simple little boy ideology, what if my complexion is for a reason and I'm of the gods? Well, you can't possibly be if you're my son and you're new to the planet. That means you must yield, boy. You need not to conquer the planet. You need to adhere to what feeds you. No, 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 I would like to conquer, sir. Well, you're not a recognizable figure within the lexicon of humanity. That's why you shall be bastardized. You refuse to see. That's when the Gentile refused to be bastardized because the Gentile doesn't want to be corrected. It wants to do the correcting with no evidence of the ability to correct anyone. It just rages and screams and hollers and yells and act as if it is special. And it is a quite a part of the human lexicon, but when you're gentle and you're subjected to your own fallacies on a continuum, you become a problem for the united beings, nations. So you mean to tell me if you can't be in charge, you'll destroy everything? That's kind of what everybody knows. That's why all of the adjacent races to you want to be so adjacent to you because of the psychopathic nature of you. You would kill yourself to live, kill everybody, kill your mother and your father just so you can't be chastised, corrected, or put in your specific place because that's specifically what needs to happen to you. But when I say those things, you don't listen, but you should listen. If you have never listened before, you cannot escape the truth that has been and always have been bestowed upon you. Caucasian, European, your name says it within itself. That doesn't mean that you're dumb, stupid, ill afflicted, or retarded. It doesn't mean any of those things. It means that you should stop positioning yourself as the default because when you do that, and the whole world understands how you have created so many pitfalls and fallacies for yourself due to lies, deceit, and discontent for others. And you have done these things globally. So when you have participated in the demise of yourself, you should never fight. You should learn for the first time. Nobody wants to hurt you because you're too fragile already. Who wants to beat down on a dismal being that doesn't even know he's at the bottom of the footstools of the totem pole? And you do know it. That's the problem with acknowledgement. You should acknowledge that you should leave humanity to those that are fluent in it. You are not at all fluid in humanity. You are fluid in barbarism, destruction. You don't get pity. You need remedial help in the concerns of global affairs. You don't get to rule them. You get to learn and sit at the kiddie table because when you have gained power, you have been completely destructive, despicable, and you have distorted genomes to where you have created, even in your own lexicon of Caucasians, because you created race. Remember, you did this. No one else did. No one else had that concept. You created that concept to be specifically wicked and specifically destructive. You should take all of your problems up with you and your ancestors as a group of people in order to understand where your ways went completely disarray and specifically the role that you subscribe to black. That means blanco, you, blanc, white, blanche, your behaviors and your elements that you have trained the world are completely set aside outside of all parts of humanity because of your natural disaster of nasty habits, being nasty to others, despicable and destructive. Is it your fault? Yes. Because if you known better, you should have done better. But you never given yourself to heal and be an, a real yielding nation of pale complected people that understand that you are a child of anybody with any tilt of tint of skin simply because that's the way humanity was naturally constructed. Not with you at the front, not with you being special. No, no. Those are fallacies that you feel good about. That doesn't mean it's true. When you arrived on the planet, you were sent here to do two things: learn or lynch. The majority of you wanted to lynch. The choice you should have chose was to learn specifically from your mother and your father. The only way specifically that you can ever have a specific place in living on a plane that would have you is the people that are melanated must be specifically your mother and your father, because if they were not, if you were anywhere else where people didn't understand the principles of grace, ethics, and justice, you know, the kind of equations that Europeans play with, because the only way you have ever learned anything about being human, or specifically what you have witnessed, is because you saw it firsthand. That's your problem. You want to be something you don't care to be. And that's a truth teller and not a liar. And that's some, but not all. But check it out. That's the show tonight. I didn't want to give you so much music. I wanted to be specifically and authentically real with the humans that claim to be something that they can never achieve to be simply because you wipe your ass with truth. So, as long as you keep perpetuating lies and never consulting, even having a consultation, a consultation with the truth, you will continuously be a distorted thinking, mind setback being. See, there's a mindset and there's a mind set back. If you stop introducing setbacks, maybe you can grow. But that's tonight's show, by the way. I love global, wonderful, thought provoking people that understand that justice is not a monolith, justice is warranted. That's the show tonight. I love you. I appreciate you. And I thank you for tuning in. But other than that, I salute you. And I hope you take heed to what I'm saying. To the lighter melanated computers, computations on the planet, you were grafted. You should show some appreciation. See, these things go line by line, identity by identity, and soul by soul. Understand your place, understand how you can shed light, and that's by living in truth. Peace. Other than I love you, and this is my favorite part of the show. You shall know the will again is specifically yours. Time to recognize and be alive for real. Be easy. Peace.